Welcome everyone. Today we are going to be making a wallet. We are going to learn how to sew a button and we are going to sew the sides. This is what the back looks like. And you can open and close it for a little space inside to store things. All right, the first step to this is threading your needle. So take your string and place it over the eye of the needle and move it a little to get the strands into the eye. Pull that until the needle is in the center of your string. And it looks like my string wants to tangle on me. Okay. So now my needle is in the middle. I have doubled up my string. At the end here, I'm going to tie a knot. And to tie a knot, I make the letter U, and then I pull this end over the top to make a loop. Then I pick the loop up and I put the ends into the loop like that, and then I pull these ends and I pull the other, and I can kind of guide the knot so that it stays at the end of my string. And there I have a knot. Okay, then on the short side, so this is a rectangle and we have two long sides and two short sides. So pick a short side and place your your button on the short side. You can decide which side of the button you want showing. And then you're going to take your needle and on the back, from the back, you are going to poke your needle through one of the holes in the button. And then you're going to pull your string until your knot stops it on the back side. All right, so our thread should be through one of the buttonholes. Now you're going to take your needle and go through another buttonhole. And I'm going to make an X for this buttonhole, so I'm going to go in the opposite hole. And then I'm going to pull my needle until the stitch is nice and tight. Okay, and then from the back, I'm going to poke my needle again through one of the holes, the open holes, and I'm going to pull my needle until it's a tight stitch on the back and pull it until you can't pull anymore. Okay, then there's one more open hole. I'm going to put the needle through that one and I'm going to pull tight so that I have an X like that. Now you can do other versions, like you could go from here to here and here and here and here, and then you could have a square, or you can just make two stitches that go from here and here to make like the number 11 or two parallel lines next to you. Okay, so now that we're done sewing on our button, turn it over, and we are going to make a knot again by making an upside down U this time. Cross it over to make the loop, and then I'm going to pick up the loop and go with the needle inside the loop to make the knot. And then this time I want to hold this part of the knot. It's the part that comes out of the cloth. Let me show you that. I'm going to hold this part right here, and I'm going to pull with my needle so that my knot, and I'm going to hold this and let it slide kind of through my finger so that my knot is right next to the cloth and right behind the button. So I hold that in place and pull. All right, now I got my knot, so I'm going to cut that. So we started with a knot and we ended with a knot. Every time we sew, we start with a knot and end with a knot. So I'm going to tie a knot in my string now, again, so that I'm getting ready to sew the side. And I'm going to make my loop, pick it up, tuck the end under, hold the end, and push the knot towards my fingers. I can control the knot by scooting it closer to the end. All right, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it up, making sure that when I pull my flap down, it covers up the button. That's an important part. All right, Then I'm going to push my needle into the fold, and I'm going to pull this part, tucking the end inside. Now I'm going to make my first stitch. I'm going to take my needle and push it through the front to the back through both layers, and I'm going to pull it until my string stops. That way I have a nice tight stitch in the front. Okay, then I'm going to push my needle from the back because my string is on the back. And I'm going to pull that until I have a nice tight stitch. Notice that my stitches are small. You want them small and close together. Now my string is on the front, so I make another stitch. My string is on the back, so I'm going to push it from the back. And the stitch that I'm making here is called a running stitch. And I'm just going to keep making small stitches close together until I get up to the top of this cloth right here. That's where my finish line is. My string is in the front, I push through the front. When my string is on the back, I push from the back. Okay, I got to the finish line. That's my last stitch. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to make my loop. Tuck the end, which is connected to the needle, so I'm going to use the needle, and then I'm going to hold this side, and I'm going to pull so that the knot stays close to the cloth. And I can put that. All right, there I'm finished with one side. Okay, now I'm ready to sew the other side. I'm going to put my needle through the fold, and here's my knot. I'm going to pull it until the knot stops it, tuck the end in, and I'm going to sew the second side just the same way I sewed the first side. Over under pattern, I'm going over, and now from under I'm going to poke through to the front. Once you get the hang of it, stitching is the easy part. Any of it is easy actually once you get the hang of it. And I'm almost to the finish line again with my stitches small and close together. And there I am. Okay, turn it over, make your U, cross it over, and take your needle and put your needle into the loop. Hold the loop close to the cloth and pull it until your knot stops it. Trim it. And I'm done sewing, so I can set my needle off to the side, but you want to always keep track of your needle because a needle on the ground is a dangerous thing. Okay, now we're going to take our flap, fold it over, and then you're going to pinch right above where the button is, and with your scissors, make a little snip. Make it smaller than you think you're going to need it because you can always cut it bigger. But a buttonhole too big will not work properly. There we go. So just to show that one more time, what I did was I pinched here, and then I snipped with my scissors right here to make the hole. And I can push my button through the buttonhole, and there I have my finished wallet. I hope you've enjoyed making this.